Good evening. I am Dr. Hanmantrayappa, Principal, APS Evening College of Arts and Commerce. APS Educational Trust has started its school in the year 1935 with only 3 students. At present, there are 6,000 students are pursuing their education in our institutions. Our revered Professor N. Anantachar has started APS Evening College in the year 1964 with the intention of providing value-based education to the downtrodden people at the minimum cost. For this tremendous achievement, I would like to appreciate our management for their able administration and human service. I'm really honored to welcome our President, Sri T.V. Maruti, General Secretary, Professor K.P. Narasimhamurthy, Governing Council Chairman, A.R. Manjunath, and all other respectable members to this webinar. I am also very much happy and very much pleased to welcome Dr. Rajesh Kumar, today's resource person of this webinar. Dr. Rajesh Kumar, a financial expert, an extraordinary teacher, a humble and an excellent human being. Welcome, Rajesh. And also that I'm very happy to welcome all the participants from throughout the world. And at last but not the least, that I'm very happy to welcome our NAC and IQAC coordinator, Professor Suresh Sudarshan Kumar, and Professor R. Mangala Surpur, head of the Department of Commerce, and all my teaching and non-teaching staff with wholeheartedly. Thank you. I request Mr. Srihari to introduce our resource person, Dr. Rajesh Kumar.
Good evening, Rajesh.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening to all the participants. Just a small introduction about Rajesh because it takes a lot of time to actually introduce him. A small introductory about him. Dr. V. Rajesh Kumar is an MCOM graduate from Bangalore University. He has got doctorate in the area of strategy, while accounting and taxation are his areas of expertise. Finance is his area of passion. He has 27 years of experience in the teaching at graduate, postgraduate, and professional levels, and has served various institutions in different capacities: Mount Carmel Institution of Management, Bangalore University, Department of Commerce, and Alliance Business Academy, to name a few. He is a faculty for Strategic Finance Management and Tax Laws at Bangalore branch of the Institution of Chartered Accountants of India. He has authored a book on financial management for requirements of professional courses and co-authored textbooks on accounting, finance, and taxation for the requirements of various universities. He has presented papers at various national and international conferences and published articles in reputed journals. His paper on capital asset pricing model was selected for an international conference at Harvard University, Cambridge, United States of America during May-June 2011. Dr. Rajesh also has a rich experience in research, consultancy, and training, both at the academic level and corporate level. He has conducted student development programs and faculty development programs in various educational institutions and has conducted training programs for executives and managers of various companies with Wipro, Godrej, FCG, Honeywell, APCTL, and so on in the area of accounting, finance, and taxation. He is associated as resource person for the finance for non-finance executive program of Bangalore chapter in the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is the founder of Vittam Pravinan Gurushala Finance Expert Academy, an academy engaged in spreading the knowledge of finance to students, faculty, corporate, and other interested in the area of finance. Presently, he is working as a finance and academic consultant at various different management institutions for teaching finance courses in and outside India. Rajesh sir, I welcome you, sir. So I'm
you, sir.
just handing over to you because it's already time up. So thank you, sir. Please welcome, sir. So please take on the session. Thank you, sir.
Sir. Sir, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Rajesh, sir, just
Very good evening. Yeah,
just a
sure.
minute. May I just request all the participants to please mute even the video also, please. Please. I request all the participants to mute the video also, to stop your video also, and please. Thank you. Raj sir, you can please continue. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I thank APS Evening College of Commerce for this opportunity to be here with you this evening. I also thank my very good friend, Mr. Srihari, for organizing this program. Great privilege to be associated with this institute and to meet all of you this evening. Before we start, firstly, we have muted all of you deliberately to ensure that there is no disturbance in between. In case any of you have any queries, you can raise your hand, but I suggest better keep all your doubts till the end. So at the end, anything we have, depending on time availability, we can discuss about it. But still, you can raise your hand, and as and when time permits, I'll definitely take your queries. And we request you to please even keep your video in stop. You'll be able to see everything. Just keep your audio on, close the video. If you will be able to see everything that is required. So please keep your this thing also closed, video also closed. So today, the topic for discussion is economic value added. Srihari sir, Mr. Srihari, sir, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see the screen.
Are you able to see the Excel sheet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can continue.
Yeah. Just one of you keep your audio on mute, sir, so that
yes,
in case
sure,
any
sure,
this thing
sure.
you can.
Sure.
Yeah. I think there are some participants raising their hand. Just check, sir, what is the query. If there is any technical this thing, let us address it and then go ahead further. Let's ensure that nobody misses out on what is required. Please check, sir, what is the requirement of the participants. Some of them have raised their hands. It says 3 are raised their hands. Okay. Okay. So I guess no confusion, no problem.
Zoom download ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ.
Okay. So is it all set? Can we start, sir?
Yes, sir. We can start the session.
Yeah. So some of them have raised their hands. I just was, curious to know if they have any concerns, technical, because once we start, let there not be any disturbances. So can we start? All set? Everything is clear? Everything is fine?
Yes, sir. Everything is fine. We can start the session.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Just one second, just 1 second. All right. Okay. So let's start a discussion on a very, very, very interesting topic, a very exciting topic. Trust me, if I say this, another 5 years down the line, this is one of the tools which any and every industry needs, and this is what we, the faculty or the students, must be equipped with. Why? 5 years down the line, this is the future you will get to know in some time, but trust me, this has a very big future to play. Now, before I start with what I had to say, what I'm now displaying is annual report of Hindustan Unilever Limited. This is 1819, 1920 is yet to be published. None of the companies have come up with their annual report set. And this company, from quite many years, is showing in its annual report this item called economic value added. What exactly does it show? I'll show you that. So this is the economic value added it is showing. I'll show more details as we go further. It is showing for last 10 years, 2009, 10, 10, 11 till the current year, a number called EVA, economic value added, and it has given in its annual report very clearly, very beautifully how it has been calculated. But before we get into this calculation, let's see what exactly this is. And I repeat again and again, this is one model which is of utmost importance in the days to come. How early we are equipped, trust me, so many opportunities we have in any capacity, be a faculty or a student, potential employees, anybody for that matter. Now, I'm sure all of us know, if I ask you what's the goal of a business enterprise, particularly in financial management, you would have learned all this. Yeah, many things, but I'm sure you know the best and what is more sensible is what is called wealth maximization, or to be more precise, we say value maximization. So what any business aims is to maximize its wealth, to maximize its value, to maximize its worth. Now, what can a business do to maximize its value, its worth? For that, first we should know how to find value. How to find value of a business enterprise. So when you get to here, Apple is $1 trillion company. Reliance will be very soon $1 trillion company. So much is its worth, etc. There is a mechanism to find what is its value and how to find its value. There are many methods, many methods. One very, very popular, and this is something which today who is considered as a father of valuation, Ashwath Damodaran, propounds and ensures that this is what is used across the world. DCF method, discounted cash flow method, one of the best methods. But now there's also another method to find what's the value of a business called EVA method. Best part is whatever value find of a firm under DCF method, exactly same will be the value even under EVA method. So this is another approach to find value of the firm. And why should we know how to find value? Our focus is to know how to maximize value. Unless we know how to find value, what can drive value you can't know, and how to take it further, you can say. So let's see how to find value under EVA method. So I repeat, for any business, the goal is to maximize value. To know how to maximize value, first we should know how to find value. How to find value, there are many approaches. One such approach is EVA method. Now, let's say under EVA method, how to find value. How to find value. Now, according to this method, value of a firm is present capital employed plus something called MVA. This is how to find value of a firm under EVA method. Present capital employed plus MVA. Now, present capital employed, if you see the balance sheet, we get to know. I'm sure all of us know how to find capital employed. There are two approaches, asset-based approach, liability-based approach. And the liability-based approach, take all long-term sources of finance, shareholders' funds, long-term borrowings, we get capital employed. Asset-based approach, non-current assets plus current assets minus current liabilities, again you get the same capital employed. So that is it. But value of the firm, this plus something called MVA. MVA means market value added. So this plus this will give us what's the worth of a firm. Now, what is this MVA? How to calculate this? How do we get this? By this model, it appears a little technical initially, but just follow all these terms. What I use are something very familiar for the entire commerce fraternity. Observe the things carefully. So according to this model, MVA is present value of something called future EVA. So value of a firm under EVA model is present capital employed plus market value added. Market value added is present value of future EVA. Now, how to find present value of future EVA? For this, we need certain things. Two things we need. One, we need future EVA. Future EVA. What is it? How to find? Let us say. Two, this future EVA, we should find present value. So we need discount rate. So if we have these two, we can find MVA. And this MVA, if we add to capital employed, we get value of the firm. So these are the two requirements for us to find market value added. Now, for any business entity, what do we take as discount rate? A standard component, we call it as hurdle rate, WACC, weighted average cost of capital. So what is this? We know in simple words. This rate of return given to those who are given the funds to the business. But how exactly to arrive was actual meaning, all that as we progress in the discussion, let us see. But in simple words, rate of return given to those who contributed funds to the business entity, that is WACC. Usually this is what is taken to find as discount rate or any decision making, including this also for that matter. But this is fine. The main component what we need is future EVA. Mind you, future EVA. So I was showing you annual report of HUL. I'm showing annual report of HUL. Here we have EVA of current period 2018-19, 5291 something we have. Okay, but we don't need current EVA, we need future EVA. So how to find future EVA? Using current EVA and growth rate. Growth rate. Now, how to find growth rate? We'll see later. But to find future EVA, first requirement is to find at present, currently, what is EVA? We still don't know what is EVA. I'll be coming to that in a minute's time. Now, if you have, sir, can you unmute those people? Sorry, can you mute those people, please?
Sure.
Please.
Okay. I kindly request participants not to unmute yourself because.
Sir, you can mute everybody.
Yeah. That's what actually I have done. That's what I have done, sir, already.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. So, if you have with us current EVA, growth rate, you can estimate future EVA. Just example. Let's say current EVA is 100 crores. Growth rate is 5%. So I can find next year, this will be 100 plus 5%. Following year, this plus 5%. So if I have current EVA and growth rate, I can keep on estimating for any period EVA, future EVA. So this is future EVA. And when we discount future EVA taking WACC, we get MVA. This MVA, when we add to present capital employed with value of the firm, mind you, our requirement is now how to increase, how to maximize, how to rise the value of the firm. So I repeat, we're discussing EVA as a method of business valuation, firm valuation, corporate valuation. Under this method, value of the firm is present capital employed plus MVA. MVA means market value added. Market value added is present value of future EVA. And to find present value of future EVA, we need future EVA. And for finding present value, we need discount rate. And discount rate, usually what do we consider? WACC. But what to get future EVA? Current EVA, growth rate. Now, I showed HUL annual report, the current EVA, but that is what's calculated and given. Let's see first how it's calculated. And only when you know how it's calculated, you'll understand what is the meaning of it. And Once they know the meaning of it, you know its significance, you know why this is a method and not just a method today, it's a model for value maximization. It's a model propounded by somebody called Stern and Stewart. Stern and Stewart company. So today EVA is actually registered it, patented a trademark model by Stern and Stewart for maximizing value. How? All that let us see. But first let us see what is this EVA. I start with how to calculate. And all this little technical, but as I mentioned earlier, all of us are in teaching commerce and management courses from quite a long time. So all these terms are familiar. Some may appear new to you, but observe carefully. After a few minutes of technicality, we'll see how everything is so beautifully connected. And the meaning and purpose of many things in annual report you will understand when you understand EVA. So how to calculate EVA? We take something called NOPAT. What is it? I'll tell in a minute's time. It is net operating profits after tax minus WACC. I mentioned what is WACC? Capital employed, cost of capital, weighted average cost of capital into capital employed. Already we discussed what is capital employed. Now this is the formula. Now, first let us take a simple small illustration to understand all these terms, how to calculate. And by the end of calculation, you'll understand what actually is EVA, why it matters for us, and how it is so relevant in the future days to come. So a quick recollection. A business aims at maximizing value. To know how to maximize value, you should know how to find value. Many methods exist, but one such model is EVA model, EVA method. Under this method, value of a firm is present capital employed plus MVA. Present capital employed from balance sheet you can identify. MVA means market value added, which is present value of future EVA. To find future EVA, we need current EVA and growth rate. And once you have these two, you can estimate for any number as what is the EVA. And if you discount it using WACC, you get MVA. Now, growth rate, how to get, etc. I'll come to it later. But what is EVA? How to calculate? So I first given it as a formula. NOPAT, net operating profits after tax minus WACC into capital employed. So let's illustrate this with a simple example. So please see this. So taken a simple case, a balance sheet, a company. So what do we have? On liabilities, we have equity share capital, other equity, business and surplus retained earnings, 10% debt. Let's assume a rate of 10%. So this is liabilities and sundry assets, which means what I have shown here itself is what we call as capital employed. The current liabilities obviously is adjusted here. Now I'm showing income statement, an abstract. This is what we have. So assume all these some imaginary numbers. Operating revenues, let's say 800 lakhs, crores, whatever. Operating cost. I'm sure all of us know what does operating cost involve. Cost of goods sold and all operating expenses. Cost of goods sold includes material cost and conversion cost. Operating expenses include office, administration, selling, distribution. All this put together, including depreciation, we call it as operating cost. So when you deduct operating cost from operating revenue, you get what is called operating profits, which is popularly called as EBIT, earnings before interest and tax. So EBIT is nothing but operating profits because it is outcome of deducting operating cost from operating revenues. Now we know the format of income statement, the typical format. From EBIT, deduct interest. In this case, we had a debt, 10% debt of 300. So 10% of 300, 30 is the interest, EBIT. Tax, I just assumed 30%. So on 270, 81 is the tax. So earnings after tax, 189, this income statement. And I've also given one item, cost of equity, 20%. Now, all these are readily available. How to find all these cost of equity, all different concepts, depending on time, let us say, but let's say all these are available with us. Now, how to calculate using this EVA? Let's first understand. We need three items, NOPAT, WACC, capital employed. So how to find? Let's take first capital employed. Capital employed. Already I showed you. It's nothing but sum of all long-term source of funding, shareholders funds and long-term borrowings. So in this case, it is 1,000 lakh something. This capital employed. So first item we have, one item we have. Next, NOPAT, net operating profits after tax. Mind you, it is operating profits after tax. Now, income statement, we have operating profits. EBIT is operating profits. So I take that EBIT, operating profits. This is what we have. But we need operating profits after tax. Mind you, we don't need profits after tax. What we need is not PAT. We need NOPAT. What is it? Operating profits after tax. So it's not PAT we're looking at. Operating profits after tax. So operating profit is 300. From this, less tax at the rate of 30%. So on this 30%, so we have, this is what we call as NOPAT. So let's remember, NOPAT is net operating profits after tax. So operating profits, EBIT. Normally, tax is deducted from EBT. Fine, that is what we need for income statement. But this is not preparing income statement. This is finding NOPAT. So we are not calculating tax on EBT. We're calculating tax on EBIT. So less tax on EBIT 30%, NOPAT 210. This is what we get. Sir, can just control?
Just because
Somebody else is able to share the screen?
because actually I made a co-host also. Made you as a co-host also. Rajasthan, is it audible? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Is it audible?
No, lot of disturbance actually.
Now, is it okay?
No, every time you speak, there is a noise coming. Okay, I'll continue. Please
Yeah, yeah.
see that there's no interruption in between.
Okay.
See, somebody else is again writing. So, can this be avoided?
I'll just check it.
I guess you should actually restrict screen sharing by only one participant. So others can't write or others can't do this. I think you may have an option. Screen sharing by only one participant. Please see that. Or you can restrict screen sharing by participants.
One participant.
May I request the participants not to write anything on the screen. This will disrupt our discussion. Normally I see students doing that, but it's strange that even faculty resort to this. Can you please ensure that you don't enter the presentation, please? Can I continue, sir?
Sure, sir. Sure.
So these discussion need a lot of continuity, sir. If it keeps stopping, we may not be able to reach out. Okay. Okay. I just repeat how to calculate EVA. EVA, we have a formula, NOPAT minus WACC into capital employed. I'm also showing you the annual report. Of course, is the same formula that you get to see. NOPAT minus WACC into capital employed. How to calculate is what I'm demonstrating. So I took an imaginary balance sheet, income statement, and with that we're trying to understand how to calculate. And once you know how to calculate, you will get to see how to interpret what it is and how it matters for us actually. Let's see. So what are the components we need? NOPAT. I just showed the calculation. It is operating profits after tax. Operating profit 300. After tax 30%. NOPAT 210. Capital employed. We already have. And the third component we need is WACC. Weighted average cost of capital. Now we know what it means. What is weighted average cost of capital? Rate of return given, but technicality is rate of return expected by those who contributed the funds. Now to find this, in this we have two sources of funding: own funds, that is shareholders funds, equity share capital, debt. So we have debt funds and equity funds, and if we take average of this, we get weighted average cost of capital. Now to find this, so to find this WACC, which we normally represent as K, we use a formula KDWD plus KEWE. Cost of debt into weight of debt plus cost of equity into weight of equity. We get weighted average cost of capital. So what we should find is, was the cost of debt, was the rate of return we are giving on debt, was the weight in the total capital, was the proportion of debt, was the cost of equity, weight of equity. This is what we need. How to find this? Let's say first cost of debt. Cost of debt, KD. How to get this? On debt, the interest rate is 10%. That's the rate of return we're giving, 10%, but that is a cost. But when we pay interest to lenders, this interest can be taken to P&L account, income statement, and after deducting that, we calculate tax, meaning because of interest, we're able to save tax. So how to find cost of debt? 10% is not the cost. This 10% interest what we pay actually leads to savings in tax. So 10 into 1 minus 0.3. 10% after tax benefit. So effectively the cost of debt, the cost to company towards lenders is 7%. Though it pays 10%, the 10%, 30 crores what it pays, it is able to save tax. So effectively the cost will be 7%. Let's take weight of debt. Weight of debt, WD. How to find this? Very simple. The total capital employed is 1000. In that, debt is 300. So 300 by 1000. Then cost of equity. This is the most interesting component, but in this case, just for simplicity, I've readily given it. Cost of equity 20%. How to arrive? That's a huge discussion, but we can spend one full day to understand how to find cost of equity. Just to show here, HUL has clearly explained how its cost of equity has been calculated. Cost of equity, risk-free return plus market premium into beta. This is called CAPM, capital asset pricing model. Excellent model, very interesting model, but too short a time for us to get into those details. So I've readily given it, but depending on time availability, etc., let's try to get some insights on that. Then weight of equity, WE. Now we already know out of 1000 lakhs crores whatever, 300 was debt. Remaining 70% is remaining 700 is equity. So 30% debt, 70% equity. Now what it means is, on 30% of the funds company has, it is giving a return of 7%. On 70% of the funds, it is giving a return of 20%. So on an average, what's the rate of return it is giving? So this is how we identify 7 into 30%. So on 30% of the funds, 7%, and on 70% of the funds, 20%. So 16.1%. So presently, this is the cost of overall cost of capital, what we said, WACC. So now we have all the three components required to calculate EVA. We have with us capital employed, NOPAT, and WACC. So let's calculate then EVA. NOPAT is what I need first. NOPAT, I'm selecting this, minus WACC, this in percentage, into capital employed. Capital employed. So we get a number called 49, some number. Now this is EVA. By number, how to arrive at it, we got an idea. What is the meaning? We'll see. But this is how to calculate what is called EVA. So in this case, it is 49 lakhs, crores, whatever. Now, before I tell you what exactly it means, and so exciting, trust me, the next part of discussion, but a quick recollection. We're understanding how to find value of a firm under EVA method. Why I'm discussing from valuation, we'll understand when I take the next part of the analysis. Under EVA model, value is present capital employed plus market value added. Market value added is present value of future EVA. To find present value of future EVA, we need two things, future EVA and discount rate. To get future EVA, we need current EVA growth rate. How to calculate that current EVA? So if you have current year annual report like this, abridged. So using the annual report, financial statement of HUL, you can calculate using this formula. That's exactly how they have also done. So same thing, whatever I discussed, exactly the same. Obviously, there can't be any change how we do or how it is done by anybody in practice, exactly the same. So to calculate this, we need three components, NOPAT, WACC, capital employed. So NOPAT, please remember, is operating profits after tax, and capital employed from balance sheet you can identify, and weighted average cost of capital. Just to show, this is how the HUL has calculated average debt, average equity, cost of debt. Can you see post tax? That is after adjusting tax. Cost of equity. How cost of equity has been calculated? All that has been explained, and we get WACC. So same, whatever is done exactly is what I showed you. But what is this 49? What's the meaning of it? How to read it? Let's see. Now, to make you understand that, let's first get a small understanding of what is this cost of equity. Now, cost of capital, when I generally mention, I said earlier, rate of return given. But I also mentioned technical, it is not what we give, what is expected. So when I say cost of equity 20%, what it means is equity shareholders are expecting a 20% return on their funds. So what are the funds they're given to the entity? They're expecting a return of 20%. So when I show here for HUL, cost of equity presently 11.84, what they mean is from HUL, equity shareholders were expecting for this year a return of 11.84%. That's the meaning. How to calculate, as I said, is a different discussion. That's the meaning of cost of equity. Now, let's see. What is the equity shareholders funds here? 500 lakhs, 200 lakhs. Both this is what belongs to equity shareholders. So we have 700 lakhs of equity shareholders funds, 700 lakhs. On this, they're expecting a return of 20%. They're expecting a return of 20%. So they want a return of 140 lakhs. Correct? But now, income statement says we have a profits after tax of 189 lakhs. To whom does profits after tax belong to? Equity shareholders. So how much is available to be given to equity shareholders, or how much is available for equity shareholders? 189. How much is expected by them? 140. So what is the excess we have? 49. Now, is it the same number what we got here? Yes. So what is EVA? It is profit earned by the company over and above shareholders' expectation, that we call as economic value added. So I repeat, EVA, economic value added, means profits earned by the company over and above shareholders' expectation. And the more it earns beyond shareholders' expectation, obviously, I'm expecting something, company is able to generate more profits, the value of the company automatically goes up. How the market works, etc. All this is a different mechanism, but in simple terms, I have some expectation, company is able to give me more than what I expect, is earning more than what I'm expecting. Obviously, in my view, shareholder view, market view, if the company is much more worth, the value is much higher than what is expected. So when we say here EVA, last year 5291 crores, mind you, all these figures are in crores here for HUL, is EVA of HUL, meaning it has earned so much more profits than what was expected by equity shareholders. And can you please see for HUL for last 10 years, what is the trend? 1791, 1750, 2250. Can you see year by year, it is increasing, meaning every year literally, HUL is able to give more profits than what is expected. And the best part is, if I'm shareholder, last year, if company had earned some profit, this year definitely I expect more than that. And HUL is able to give even more than what is expected. So can you see now, if you were to be shareholder of HUL, what would you feel? And if anybody asks you, would you like to be shareholder of HUL, what would your thought be? Because whatever you expect, it is able to give more than your expectation. But it's not as straight as this, as simple as this. We'll see much more analysis. But this is in simple words, what is EVA? We calculate it by formula, all that's fine. But what exactly does it mean? It is profits generated by the company over and above what is expected by shareholders. Now let me do a small twist here. In this income statement, I've taken revenues as 800 crores, operating costs 500, so I had an EBIT of 300, interest 10% on 330, EBT, tax 30%, all fine. I'll make a small change here. Just for simplicity, I'll say EBIT is, revenues are 600. Revenues are 600. Everything remains same. So if 800 taken revenue 600, so operating cost 500, EBIT 100, interest 30, EBT 70, tax 21, EAT 49. So still company is making profits. But now please see what has happened. How much is EBIT? 100. So EBIT 100 minus tax 30%, 30, NOPAT is 70. Right? And if I calculate EVA, same 70 minus WACC is 16.1% of 1000. How much am I getting? Minus 91. What does it mean? If you see here, how much are shareholders expecting? 20% on their funds. Shareholders' funds are 700, 20%, 140. That is their expectation. Company is making profits, mind you. Company is making profits, but not as much as expected. It is falling short of the expectation by 91 crores. So despite making profit, it is not able to meet owner's expectation. That's when we say it is negative. So if it is positive, we say economic value added. It is negative, we say economic value eroded. So obviously when a company is not meeting my expectation, what is the value I give to the company? Definitely it will be lower because it's not able to meet my expectation. So EVA, EVE, economic value added, economic value eroded. But what is interesting you should observe here is, in this case, company is making profits. Mind, it's not loss-making company, profit-making company. Still, it can have a negative EVA when it can't meet expectation of shareholders. So EVA is all about meeting shareholders' expectation. Is a company generating enough profits? The company is able to generate more profits than what is expected by shareholders. We say economic value added. It is less than that. It is economic value eroded. Now, how does this concept help us? Okay, we calculated EVA. All right. So let's say I calculate current year EVA. So I got, let's say, some 49 crores, something, whatever the number. HUL, it is 5,000 something crores, etc. Growth rate. How to calculate? There's a big model for it, but just for simplicity, I'll mention, as I mentioned earlier, I'll just say 10%. So this is current year EVA. This is the rate at which we expect company to grow. How to find? There's a model for this. And each year I can expect now what is the next. So this is the growth rate. So next year, what is the EVA we can expect? 49 crore plus 10%. Plus 10%. Next year, it will be 53.9 crores plus 10%. So I can keep on estimating future EVA. And once I discount it, so in our example, mind you, discount factor, cost of capital was 16.1%. So all this future EVA, if I discount it at this rate, I get MVA. This MVA, if I add it to present capital employed, we get value of the firm. Now, why are we discussing value of the firm? Mind you, for any business, that is the key requirement. That is the goal, to maximize value, to increase its value. Now, how to increase value? This is the key part, and this is where when I mentioned earlier, EVA as a big future, you'll understand from this next analysis what I showed you. Why we should learn or why we should teach and subjects in commerce. All that you get to understand. I'm sure you'll understand the importance of EVA at that stage. Sir, am I audible, sir? Sherry, sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 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 okay. Now, so what's the goal of a business enterprise? To maximize value. I put arrow marks. I just kept the template ready beforehand. So goal of a business enterprise is to maximize value, increase value. How to increase value? Let's see how to find value of the firm. According to EVA method, present capital employed plus MVA. Now, present capital employed, you can't change. It is already employed. So if you have to raise the value of the firm, what should you do? We should do whatever possible to raise MVA, to increase MVA. How to increase MVA? To increase MVA, we need two things. We should increase, maximize EVA or minimize discount rate. I'm sure you're aware. Discount rate, higher the discount rate, lower the present value. Lower the discount rate, higher the present value. So a low discount rate obviously give us higher value. So how to get high value? So two things, either increase EVA, current EVA, future EVA, whatever, increase EVA or decrease, reduce WACC. So either do this or do this, you can maximize value, increase value. Excellent. Now, how to increase EVA? So let's see the formula. What is EVA formula? NOPAT minus this into this. So to increase EVA, what should I do? Either I should increase NOPAT or decrease this. What is this? WACC, capital employed. So increase this or decrease these two, you will get higher EVA. So increase NOPAT or decrease capital employed or decrease same WACC once again. So we again come back to WACC. So twice we have it. So both the cases of requirement is to cut down this, bring it down. So to raise value, either increase EVA or decrease WACC. To increase EVA, either increase NOPAT or decrease capital employed or decrease WACC. Now, how to decrease, how to increase, how to maximize, how to have high NOPAT? How do we get NOPAT? Operating profits after tax. How do you get operating profits? EBIT minus tax. How do we get EBIT? Operating revenue, operating cost is operating profit. From this minus tax, we get NOPAT, which means if I have to maximize NOPAT, increase NOPAT, I should increase operating revenue or decrease operating cost or decrease tax. I'm sure we're able to get the connect. So to calculate NOPAT, these are the three components we need: operating revenue, operating cost, tax. So if we can increase revenue or decrease operating cost or decrease tax, or all these make happen, NOPAT will increase. As NOPAT increases, EVA will increase. As EVA increases, value will increase. Now the question is, how to increase operating revenues? Revenue, operating revenue, top line is what we learn in marketing. Just trying to simplify. Remember, our entire marketing management is actually about how to maximize the top line, the revenues. Correct? That's the responsibility of the marketing. The beauty is, trust me, this EVA model gives models for making each of these happen. That's exactly where I said, this is the future. Trust me, such brilliant models. What should be done so that we can raise revenue? It's excellent, but it can't be generalized. It is custom made according to industry. I'll show some of the papers, some of the researchers, some of the findings, evidences of using EVA, what has happened. But this is what we need. Now, how to bring down operating cost? This is what we'll learn under cost management. And we teach this to our students right at UG level. Most of us know which are the tools of cost management. Traditionally, we have standard costing, budgetary control, marginal costing. Recent past, we have N number, activity-based costing, balance scorecard, value chain analysis, whatnot. I mean, no end. And every day there is something new that is evolved to reduce cost, control and reduce cost. And this is what we need. And if you know how to do this, automatically we bring down operating cost. We can increase NOPAT, we can increase EVA, we can increase value. But now, how? I'm just showing you one research article. There are a lot more that is required, but just to show you one. So this is a paper bringing strategy back into financial systems of performance measurement. Okay, what are the title? Integrating EVA and process-based costing. So I'm sure you know what is process costing. So this is a paper which actually tells us about that, integrating EVA and process-based costing. And this is just one sample what I've shown you. I can show you n number of such papers. Different industries, how EVA has been adopted to bring down cost. And trust me, this is one of the key knowledge which our students need. Industry wants knowledge of particularly how to manage cost. Trust me, there's such a huge requirement. Just to give one of my experiences, this was 4 years back, 3 years back, we were doing a training program for a company called Godrej Agrovit. You might have heard of this company, agro-based industry of Godrej. They make real good chicken. The South Indian head office is in Old Airport Road behind Manipal Hospital. We did a program there in the evenings for 1 week for entire staff, right from managing director till the class D worker. Class D worker, educated, a graduate, but he was a class D worker. Everyone were attending the training program for 6 days in the evening, morning 6 to 9 o'clock, Monday to Saturday. And the topic of discussion was one of the techniques of cost management called marginal costing. I'm sure all of you know how powerful technique it is. Excellent, brilliant, and if you know how to adopt it in any domain, actually can use it for reducing cost. Fifth day, Friday, after teaching everything, we gave them an assignment in your own domain, in your decision area. Demonstrate one situation where how you can make a decision using marginal costing. So everyone, right from accounting department, MD, everyone came with examples. So MD presented. I want to decide, should I add a new product or not? Should I discontinue existing one? How will I decide using marginal costing? All that is showed. The beauty was the class D worker. He came, he showed a beautiful example. He said, sir, any document, if you need extra copy, should I take a photocopy? Should I take a printout? He demonstrated using marginal costing. And he showed how we can reduce cost. Simple thing, but trust me, you could use marginal costing. And that is what we need. Such an interesting technique. All this we are aware, nothing new. Only that we teach for classroom requirement. If you can just go a little beyond, you will see how much effective it is. And what I gave was one such simple case and n number of techniques we have. I'm sure at UG level today, there is a subject called cost management, and you can see was a depth in it. And this is what you need to bring down operating cost. Now, I repeat, our discussion is how to maximize value. And EVA tells us very, very clearly how it can be done. There's a reason I went back. I started from valuation and actually gave the formula. So according to EVA model, value can be maximized if you can either maximize EVA or minimize WSAC or both. How to maximize EVA? So we have seen the formula for EVA. You can maximize EVA if you can maximize NOPAT or minimize, bring down capital to be employed. What is already employed, we can't change. But what to be employed, if you can bring down, future will automatically increase or bring down WSCC. Now, how to increase NOPAT? By either increasing revenue or decreasing cost or decreasing tax, reducing tax. So how to increase revenue? Marketing, but as I mentioned, excellent models we have referred under EVA, which can suggest this, which can tell us this, but it's all about marketing, which means EVA has a connect with whatever we learn under marketing, trust me. How to reduce operating costs? So we need cost management. Now, how to bring down tax? So we need knowledge of what is called tax management. Can I request the participants, please not to write anything on the screen, please. Is it looking good for us? Hmm? If you're not interested, you can always sleep, but I'm sure there are many others interested, and this way it doesn't look neat and clean and doesn't help us to learn, correct? Hmm? Okay, this is good. It's looking better. So, how to reduce tax? That's where we need knowledge of tax management. So, at every level, undergraduate, postgraduate, lot of discussion we make on tax. Can you see the connection? If you know how to manage tax, directly or indirectly, what we're doing is actually raising the value. And tax, very interesting again. We learn, and obviously because it is tax and law, you can't dilute it. We teach what is essential, but if you can go a little beyond and teach students not just how to calculate a tax, what can be done to reduce tax. And again, reducing tax is not tax avoidance, tax evasion, tax planning. You will see how much, and this is exactly what industry is actually expecting from commerce graduates. They want them to come with these backgrounds so that they can use their services instantly. Just to give one example, tax management. All of us have heard of Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, a pharmaceutical company based out of Hyderabad. It has a factory in Chennai. But in 2006, it started one factory in Baddi, Himachal Pradesh. What was the need for a South Indian company going as far as Himachal Pradesh and setting up a factory there? Most of you should know. In 2006, Income Tax Act, there's one section introduced, 80IC, in which if you start any establishment in 7 northeastern states, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, etc., 100% tax holiday for 10 years. Just for setting, if you establish a entity there. And imagine, till 4-5 years back ago, Reddy's Laboratory claimed that benefit, but the factory, what it started there, all the high turnover drugs, what are the drugs it makes, all the high turnover products actually was shifted to that base. Imagine the tax advantage it got. Now this is a simple example of what can be done from tax perspective to bring down tax, which can lead to raising value. And again, you're aware, a small violation of the provision, we could be in a suit. 1 day delay beyond deadline, if you submit your returns, penalty, interest, whatnot. So how to manage tax, if you know, with or without knowledge, what we're doing is increasing the value. So to increase value, one requirement is increase EVA. To increase EVA, increase NOPAT. To increase NOPAT, either raise operating revenue or bring down operating costs or bring down tax. Now, what's the next component to raise EVA? Remember, NOPAT minus capital employed into WACC. So either raise NOPAT or bring down your capital, which you have to employ, or WACC. How to bring down capital employed? Very simple. How to, this capital, which is employed in business, is employed in what? Simple, it is employed either in fixed assets or current assets. So if you manage these effectively, efficiently, the need for future capital employed will be less. So manage the existing assets efficiently. So your need for more capital employed will be reduced. So you'll be actually investing less capital. Lesser the capital, higher the EVA, higher the value. But then how to manage this efficiently? How to manage current assets efficiently? This is exactly what we learn in financial management and project management. So fixed assets, how to decide whether to invest in fixed asset or not, with capital budgeting. How to manage current assets, we have working capital management. Unfortunately, and let it be at UG, PG, anywhere, our discussion is restricted to calculating problems. Fine, that's good. It's a good beginning. It has to be there. But restricting with that, we're actually not giving the right knowledge. Little practical knowledge in working capital, mind you, the kind of requirement industry has for those who can manage inventory, those who can manage receivable, those who can manage cash, those who can manage assets. What a huge requirement. Problem is, industry is not able to get people with all this background. They hire, they train, all that's a burden. But then imagine, and none of these are new. All these are what is actually discussed. Only is a small gap between what industry needs and what we are teaching, if that can be filled with knowing what is required. And the best part is, again, EVA gives us how all these can be done. How to manage fixed assets, how to make capital budgeting decisions, how to make working capital management. It has its own models. So interesting, trust me. Now, capital budgeting, the best technique we have heard till now, and always the best technique till date, is called NPV, net present value. How to use it, you know. Now, are you aware? Same decision, in fact, very same NPV we can get using EVA method. Same number. So why do you need NPV? As earlier mentioning, whatever value we get under DCF method, exact same value we get under EVA method. So why do we need DCF method? Like this, whatever tools and techniques we are using today, by and large, most of them can be replaced by EVA. And once this is done, any and every decision, one single technique, EVA enough. But to what extent are we able to take it to that is what we need. So this is it. Now, either increase NOPAT or bring down capital employed or bring down WACC. Now, how to bring down WACC? By identifying right sources and by reducing specific cost. Specific cost, and what is this sources? From where to get the funds, how to get the funds from. So in financial management, we learn financing decisions. So deciding that, and how to bring down cost. What all can be done to bring down cost of debt, cost of equity. All this is part and parcel of what we learn. But mind you, all this actually is connected with whatever we discuss, value maximization. So if you can bring down this, automatically value will rise. Now comes another interesting part. Where do we find all this revenue, cost, tax, etc.? All this is what we find in income statement. Now, where do we find assets, fixed assets, current assets? This we find in balance sheet. And where do you find sources of funds, etc.? Liabilities. So in simple words, if you know how to manage all items in income statement, all assets and all liabilities, automatically what are we doing? Increasing value. So what we should learn is how to manage every single item in income statement. Please think of every single subject you're learning today, you're teaching today. It is connected with one of these items, correct? Sure, nothing is unrelated. So whatever we are learning today or teaching today is everything that ultimately gets displayed in financial statements or in the background. So if you know how to manage income statement, all items under that, how to manage all assets, how to manage all liabilities, they are contributing to value maximization. But next question is, we know what all is there in income statement, assets, liabilities, but every item, is there a need to manage? Obviously not necessary. So if you find which items are troubling us, which items is a concern for us, only that item if you know how to manage, excellent. How to find which item is a concern for us? So how to identify? Now I'll mention something else. Income statement, for this, you can have a measure called profitability. So for items in income statement, the metric we use to measure income statement is profitability. For assets, we have a metric called efficiency, and for liabilities, we have a metric called risk. So these are the measures for income statement, assets, liabilities, and those who are aware would know is profitability into efficiency into risk. This is what we call DuPont model, will give us what is called ROE, return on equity. Yesterday we had a program on DuPont where we discussed these aspects actually. So when you consider these components, you get ROE. Now why am I mentioning this is, if we manage all items in financial statements, we can maximize value. How to know which item to maximize or which item to concentrate upon? So if you know how to use a DuPont analysis, which it says, just by decomposing ROE, you can identify which are the concern areas, which are the problem areas in a business. So if you can decompose ROE, you can identify which items in income statement need attention, which asset need attention, which item of liability need asset attention. If you concentrate on that, manage that, you will be maximizing value. So we're also able to get a connect between EVA and DuPont analysis. And even more interesting. Now, let's say company is taking care of all this. So we are interested in maximizing value. And even without this flow chart, we know if we maximize every item in financial statement, we can maximize value. What we are interested is to know how well is a company managing itself and is it adding value or not is what I need to know. How can I know that? Now, for all items in income statement, whatever we find in income statement, we use the term operating activities. Operating activities. So the items what you find in income statement represent all activities of operation, operating activities. All items under asset side represent what is called investing activities. And all items under liabilities represent what is called financing activities. Now, where do we come across this terminology? Most of you should be knowing. This is the terms we come across in cash flow statement. Now, please remember, financial statements tell us what to manage. Cash flow statements tell us how well a company has been managed. When I say how well a company has been managed, it actually tells us is a company adding value to the stakeholders or eroding value. And that is the purpose of cash flow statement. How to read? I'll tell you in a minute's time. And we all know how to prepare cash flow statement. Mind you, cash flow statement is mandatory in annual report. But how many of us understood why it is mandatory? Why should an outsider, shareholder, or anybody should know from where it got cash for what it spent? No, that is not the purpose. It's not to know inflows, outflows. But please see, we are also able to get the connect between value and cash flow statement. Let's see how all this is interconnected. And that's exactly why I'm saying EVA has a big role to play. Now, let's see how to read cash flow statement. Okay, so all of you know the typical format of a cash flow statement. This is how a cash flow statement appears. I'm putting in an academic term. We have opening balance of cash and cash equivalent. To that we add or deduct net cash flow. Mind you, net cash flow from operating activities, investing activities, financing activities. Net. I'll come to that in a minute. And when we do this, we get closing balance of cash and cash equivalent. But these three, as I mentioned, represent something. And let's first understand what exactly this net cash flow mean. Then you'll understand how to read a cash flow statement. And the purpose of cash flow statement is to know, is the company adding value or not? When I say or not, is it adding value or eroding value? How to find? Let's see. Now, what's the first activity? Operating activity. Now, whatever net cash flow, cash inflows, cash outflows. The difference is what you call as net. Now, what are the cash inflow from operating activities? Revenues. So revenue from operating activity, revenue from operation is a cash inflow from operating activity. What's a cash outflow for operating activity? Nothing but operating cost. So cash inflow is revenue from operation. Cash outflow is operating cost. Difference is nothing but operating profit. So when I say net cash flow from operating activity, it's nothing but operating profit. If the net is a plus, it means there's an operating profit made by the company this year. Negative means this year it has made incurred a operating loss. So plus or minus is net cash flow. As far as operating activities, plus means there is an operating profit this year. Minus means there's operating loss this year. Now, investing activities. What is cash inflow? Cash outflow. Cash outflow for investing is nothing but investing in assets. Inflow is nothing but sale of assets. So net will be plus or minus. If it is minus, it means this year company is investing more in assets. And if it is plus, net cash flow from investing is plus, it means company is actually getting money from sale of assets this year. So mind you, it is selling assets this year more than what it is investing in. Good or bad, let's see later. Now, financing activities. What are the cash inflow from financing activities? Well, how can we get finances? Issue of shares, borrowing of loan, issue of debentures. All these are what we call as cash inflow from financing activities. What are the outflows towards financing activity? Payment of interest, payment of dividend, redemption of debt, repayment of loan, redemption of shares, buyback of shares. All these are outflow towards financing activity. So net, if we take, plus indicates this year we're getting more funds or borrowing more than what we are giving. Or if it is minus, it means we're paying towards those who are given us funds. Either payment of interest, dividend, repayment, whatever, but we're meeting financial obligation. Minus means. Now, this is what we mean by net cash flow. Now, how to read a cash flow statement? We don't have to see the numbers. Numbers are not of any requirement for us. All that you have to see in a cash flow statement is, for these three activities, was a symbol we have. The net, what is the symbol? Well, let's say, for example, let's say for one company, net cash flow from operating activities is plus, from investing activities is minus, and financing activities is minus. This is the net cash flow from operating, investing, financing. What is the meaning? It means this year, company has made profit from operations, using which it is investing in asset and meeting financial obligation. I repeat, if plus minus minus is the symbol we have for net cash flow from operating, investing, financing, it means company is making profit from operations, using which it is investing in assets and meeting its financial obligation. This is, now I'll just take another remote possibility. Let's say this is a symbol we have: minus plus plus, minus plus plus. How to interpret this? What it means is company is incurring loss on its operation, which is made up by selling assets and borrowing funds. I repeat, company is incurring losses on its operation, which it is making up by selling assets and meeting and borrowing funds. Now, just see the extremes, and all this we could say just by looking at the symbol, the sign plus or minus, and that's actually what we need to look at. Now, let's say this is the kind of company we have. This site is value adding company. Mind you, it's making profit. Out of its profit, it is investing, meeting financial obligation. Brilliant. And company losses, to meet the loss, it is selling away its assets and borrowing funds. What do we call such companies as? Value eroding company. Now, can you see the connection between cash flow statement and the value? And how could we connect all this? Just because of the model EVA. Let's see how brilliant this EVA model is. Though EVA model was not kept in mind while designing this, EVA model has ensured that everything is actually connected so that everyone can get a clear picture of what needs to be managed, and we can also find out how well it has been managed. And what are the symbols we have? You can read stories looking at this. Just to show you again, the annual report of HUL. It's 3. This is the annual report of HUL last year. This is statement of cash flow. Here ended 31st March 19. Cash flow from operating activities. Cash generated from operation or cash used in operation. So net, can you see? Net cash is positive 5728. Similarly, cash flow from investing activities, net cash investing minus, and financing activities, net cash minus. So as far as HUL, it is plus minus minus. You know what it means? Already we saw EVA, year by year, it is giving more than what is expected. And this also showing us it's a value adding company. So if somebody asks you, would you be interested to invest in HUL shares? Excellent, because as a shareholder, I'm very much price. That's an excellent company to invest, as shown by EVA and cash flow statement. I'm also showing you annual report of Reliance Industries. Reliance Industries is for Reliance. taking you to the cash flow statement of Reliance Industries. This is a cash flow statement of Reliance. So if you see here, cash flow from operating, net cash flow from operating, positive. So Reliance making profit from operation. Net cash flow investing, negative, and from financing also positive. What does it mean? Plus, minus, plus. What's the meaning of this? Plus, minus, plus means company is making profits. It's also borrowing funds. Both these it is using in investing in assets. And if you later take a look at Reliance, last year it has invested huge amount in two main this thing, Jio. How much, etc. Balance sheet will tell you. You look at investments category, you get to see where they have invested the funds. Very simple. And it has borrowed more than 30,000 crores, made huge profit. Both this it is actually investing. And investment in asset is good. So we know Reliance is a growth company, a growing company, or we say a growth company because of its investments it is making. It is not only using its profit, also borrowing heavily and investing, but you're aware the kind of investment made by Reliance and what it happens. So this we call as a growth company. And all this they're able to identify just looking at the cash flow statement. The symbol in the cash flow statement. Please see how interesting, how simple it is to read. But what is the connection? Connection was this. So we thought we wanted to know how to raise value, what to be done to maximize value, EVA gives us. And as I mentioned, EVA gives us models for managing every single item. Every minute item, there are models, but as I mentioned earlier, it's not generalized models. These are customized depending on the industry and the company requirement, but it has models. And once we get an idea, how equipped are we? So we can directly contribute to value addition of a company. That's the knowledge we can have just with one model. And even one or two industries, if we know what all models has been adopted, how brilliant. And we don't have to go anywhere. Lot of works are available to show how it has been done. This, for example, I'm showing one more article. This is called, this is from Journal of Applied Corporate Finance, how to use EVA in oil and gas industry. Like this, different industries we find excellent, interesting articles and which shows how it can be done. And couple of industries we get to know how practical it is. Now, what I mentioned till now was goal of a business is to maximize value. For that, we should know how to find value. One of the methods of finding value is EVA. So, what is EVA method of finding value? And as a part of that, what is EVA? And what is EVA? It is profit generated by the company over and above what is expected by shareholders. More it is earned by the company than expected by shareholders, higher its value. But even though if it's profit making, if it earns less than what is expected by shareholders, we say it is eroding its value. It is market doesn't value such companies. And the same model is not generally about valuation. It is actually important because it tells us what to be done to maximize value. That's the beauty of EVA. It shows very simply in a brilliant way what a company should do, what all it need to manage to maximize value. And if it understood, if you know how to manage all items in financial statement, every item in income statement, every item in balance sheet, then we know how to maximize value. But how to manage them? There's a body of knowledge what we are actually learning and teaching. But we are learning and teaching essentially keeping in mind from books. But if you can also get some practical insight, how is actually done, which is where these models help us to understand, you are ready to contribute, you add value to the company. And even interesting is to know which item to manage. We can use a model called DuPont model. So please get back. Yesterday we had a session on that. And those interested, if you send a mail to Professor Srihari, the coordinator. He can even send you the YouTube recording of it. You can listen to that. You will understand how using DuPont we can identify which are and also how well a company is managing itself, and which is what you can make out by looking at cash flow statement. So we discussed how to read a cash flow statement, and we also understood how EVA and cash flow statement is connected with each other. Now, displaying a couple of research articles. So this is for beginners an article called Understanding EVA. Simple article. Professor Mihir Desai is a professor of Harvard University, Harvard Business School. Both these are professors of Harvard Business School. Simple article written in 2006, so 14 years back, but it will give us everything you should know about EVA in general. Example what I gave you. In reality, there are around 164 adjustments to be done to calculate EVA. You can't just take financial statement as such and calculate EVA like how I showed you. There are around 164 adjustments. All may not be applicable to every company, but at least around 15 to 20 will always be applicable. And if you know them, you know how to calculate EVA, only then you can know how to model EVA. The beauty is today, all those companies which have adopted, so I'll show you, evidence on EVA. So this article you get to know. So it's called Evidence on EVA. Which companies adopted, how well they could make it happen, what are the outcome of it, and we have more and more articles. So some new evidence on EVA companies, those companies which have adopted EVA model. Further to that article, what more the company has contributed, and in each case they've clearly highlighted just because of using EVA model, how they could actually maximize or increase value of the company as such. And many such articles we have to, we have all these are available. If you can just Google search, Google Scholar, many of these articles are available. Some of them are copyrighted, you may not get, doesn't matter. But with what you get, if you can just make things happen, excellent. And Indian context, also today we have many companies adopting it. Just to show, this is one latest case actually. It's the latest case that we're getting. It's from Ivy Publishing, TTK Prestige. And this is a case actually which I can send it. I'll send it to the organizer. They can share it with you, which teaches you how to calculate EVA. So whatever we discussed, it will give information about TTK company for 5 years, like how I showed for HL for 10 years, for 5 years, and gives you all data to calculate EVA. So if you can do this, to a great extent, you know how to calculate EVA. But actually, EVA is not just about calculation and maximization. For any and every decision you need to make in a company, let it be valuation, measurement, compensation management, financing decisions, dividend decisions, name it. I'm just mentioning few, cost management decisions, whatnot. I'm just mentioning a few. Literally any and every decision which can be made in a business, you can make using one single tool, one single technique called EVA. For capital budgeting, we used to say NPV. Today, this is enough. For valuation, DCF, EVA is enough. Performance measurement, many metrics we have, you have seen, but EVA is enough. Compensation, bonus, incentives, how to calculate, EVA is enough. How to identify which is good, good source of fund, EVA is enough. How to identify which stock is good for those who want to invest, selection of stocks. Today, the one single tool which people use is EVA. So literally, for most of the decisions which you have to make in business, one single tool is absolutely enough. EVA. See how beautiful and how relevant. But what I discussed is just a framework, a basic understanding of what EVA is. To know how to apply, obviously we need more in-depth knowledge, which is what all this can give us. And I'm just showing you one more case actually from Harvard Business School. This is a case called Viadum Pharmaceutical, and this case is about how to make bonus incentive labor decisions using EVA. Just one simple thing is what is actually done in a firm called Viadum Pharmaceutical, how they used EVA and made a decision. Very interesting case at MBA. All this is what we teach, and obviously, you know, cases is the best way to teach any concept. So this is an interesting case to teach EVA, and it's such an interesting case, 15-page case. And all that you have to do in this case is there's a table at the end of this case with all information at the end. And at the end of this case, all that you have to do is in this table called exhibit, there are two blanks, this and this. All that we have to do in this case is calculate the numbers to be put in these two blanks. And if you can do that, it may take 3 hours, 4 hours, depending on how comfortable we are. It is just to sample to show the development that has happened in EVA, and unfortunate here, even our awareness about EVA is very less. Fine, as long as we know it, apply it, excellent. And a lot of research work has happened. So these articles, what you are able to see on the screen, are many such research articles on EVA. But 3 years back, one of my student did one. She did her MPhil, Professor Pushpa from MP Birla Institute of Management Studies. This is impact of value metrics on stock prices. And one of the metric used here is EVA, and the study shows compared to many other techniques, EVA is able to actually help us in stock better. And all this is a sample, no end for what you can know. But is one such area, particularly in India, it is now picking. Those interested, if you can make little efforts, trust me, long way to go. As I said, when for any decision making, if you can use one single tool, different tools, instead of that one single tool, imagine how powerful it is. And days to come, this is exactly what, as I mentioned, companies are actually seeking for. This is what they need, and how early you adopt this, so much you're close to the industry requirement, you per se, or you can train your students to take whatever the challenge industry poses, and they can be ready with that. This is a brief on what is EVA, what is the relevance of it, and what is the status today. And particularly, I want you to understand, connect between EVA and value and financial statements, value DuPont analysis, more importantly, value and cash flow statement, how to read cash flow statement, and whatever I demonstrated. And there are very interesting books which you can get to see, particularly because yesterday and today there are many who are asking how to read cash flow statements. There are excellent books. One such book is Business Analysis and Valuation Using Financial Statements. This is an interesting book. It is soft copy also possible, e-copy. So if you read this, you get to know how just keeping financial statements, you can do anything in business. This also actually gives you very good insight on how you can read cash flow statement, what I explained. So those who are interested in knowing more about cash flow statement, read this. A lot of YouTube lectures available today. Just Google search, go to YouTube and say how to read cash flow statement to get to know. But what I want you to understand is the purpose of cash flow statement and what actually does it indicate and what to look for, not the numbers. And preparation, Tally package can help us to prepare it. What's so big fun in it? But how to read, how many of us know? But now at least we got an idea how to do it. And interesting is its connection with the EVA. This is a brief presentation on EVA. Thanks for patient listening. Any disturbances in between, truly apologize for that. Sorry for that. And once again, thank the organizers for this opportunity. I know too many participants, I may not be able to take all the questions to shorter time. Please feel free to mail me to this ID any queries you have. Whenever possible, at the earliest, I'll definitely get in touch. I'll respond back to your queries. And what are the material I've been showing, I'll be sending it on mail to the organizers. In turn, they will send you by mail. So if it is for the material, no need to get in touch over the mail. But any queries you have, please get in touch. I'll certainly respond to you at the earliest possible. So thank you once again to all the participants, and thank APES Evening College Principal Professor Hanmantarayappa, Professor Srihari, my good friend, for this opportunity. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Over to Dikshit.
Good evening, sir. The session was very informative. It was very informative, sir. I hope the participants have understood with the concepts. Just to share a few things with the participants. We have received more participants throughout the country as well as from various nations. We had few participants from Indonesia and San Diego and California as well. And across the country, we had participants from Tamil Nadu, Delhi, Gujarat. So it was very nice by seeing the response from the participants. We hope we'll get the same response in the coming future also. Now I request our Professor Satish sir to give you instructions about the session feedback.
Good evening, Rajesh sir, and all the participants. It was a wonderful session, sir. All the faculty members, participants, I think they have enjoyed a lot and they have learnt a lot. It's a new concept which the faculty members, they have to learn and they have to teach even to the students, even in classrooms. So it's a wonderful session. And what I want to tell to the participants is, once this session gets over or once the vote of thanks gets over, we'll be sending you the feedback form, Google feedback form. So only those participants who are going to fill the feedback form, they will be receiving the e-certificates. So there will be a deadline for the feedback form. It will be tomorrow, that is 29th till 29th, 6 p.m. till tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. We are going to the feedback form will be open till tomorrow 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. till 6 p.m. Only to those students, to those participants, the e-certificates will be given. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Privileged to propose vote of thanks on this momentous occasion. Let me in the first place, on behalf of college and my department, express my sincere gratitude to our respected resource person, Dr. Rajesh Kumar. Sir, it was a great program spearheaded by you with valuable inputs to all the participants. Your deliberations were very highly informative and useful. We were lucky to have a resource person like you. Thank you once again, sir. I
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Our management, Dr. C. Hanmantarayappa, our principal, for their wholehearted support in organizing this national level online FDP. This program wouldn't have been so successful without the interest of the participants, not only from Karnataka, but all over the country. It is really heartening to find participation from Gujarat, Assam, Odisha, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and even Indonesia, San Diego, California, Malaysia. I thank all the participants for their enthusiastic participation. Behind this successful story is the teamwork of my dynamic colleagues, that is organizing committee members. To mention them, Professor Srihari, Professor Sanjeevan, Professor Satish, Professor Varadraj, and Professor Dikshit. Thank you everyone for making it so successful.